Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Friday, February 21st, a day earlier than we normally would because busy stuff happens.
It's on me. Hand up.
We've got Celtic stuff to talk about. We've got surprisingly a bunch of little news going around, but we'll get to it. How you doing, Sam?
Do good. Enjoying the nice weather out here in LA. We have a fun show for you guys today, so make sure you stick around through all of it. Like Jack said, we're going to go through little tidbits of Celtic stuff, have some discussions. We'll go through your emails, check the NBA standings, go around the league, talk about all the latest. Then we'll do the rat list. So you want to be here for all of it. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell because we're giving you new content every single day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's jump right into it. Jayson Tatum talked after the Celtics win over the Philadelphia 76ers. Jay King, I believe, was asking the questions about it, so credit to him for getting it on the radar. Bobby Koritsky posted the video of the quote from NBC Sports, and he was asked about Larry Bird. And Jayson Tatum talked about when he decided to chase Larry Bird to become the best Celtic ever. And Jayson said, once you win a championship, it's like, all right, you can be in those rooms with the Celtics legends, but it doesn't just stop at one. You've obviously got to win multiple, and that's what we're trying to do. And I always wanted to be the best, and he's, in my opinion, the best Celtic ever. And he did it the right way, so he's a great guy to chase. On top of that statement, and I think he said it before he said that in the sentence, but he also said, I think you just realize at a certain point that you might be on the trajectory of whatever people want to call it, have a legendary career, be an all-time great, whatever. And you see the impact that he had on the game of basketball. And obviously with the Celtics winning 3 championships, 3 MVPs in a row, which is incredible. You just suddenly start to see that we both scored 60 points in a game. And you start getting mentioned in the conversations of the only other Celtics to do this. And then he got into the, once you win a championship, it's all right to be in those ruins, et cetera, which is cool to hear. I don't know what you think. I would, the way I look at it, when you think about like Jayson Tatum obviously saying or implying that Larry Bird's the best Celtic of all time. The way I always look at it is the same way I look at the Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Like, I think Michael Jordan is the greatest. Like, if you're saying GOAT, that is greatest of all time, I think LeBron is probably better in terms of like a pure basketball player. But it's probably similar to that. Like, I think if you're talking about basketball player, Larry's probably better. But if you're talking about greatest, then it's hard to argue anything other than Bill Russell. Regardless, it's fun to hear that Jayson is talking about being a Celtic like that. I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, it's nice to hear Jayson embracing this, like being a Celtics Nation, stuff like
Correct.
that. So it's good to hear. This is a very cool thing.
Yeah, I agree with that last point, especially like getting to have the top guy on your team start talking about being amongst the greats that have ever played for the franchise. And I think you could probably say this for any franchise legitimately and have it mean something when that person says it. Like they legitimately have a shot to be the best is a gift. It's not often as a fan you get to be involved, be present in an era that is like that, where it's realistic for the best guy on the team to be the best guy ever that has played for the team. Tatum said last year something similar when he was talking with Jeff Goodman before the season started, and it's clear his mindset has not changed. And I wrote a whole article about it at the time. I think it was he wanted to be on the Mount Rushmore of Celtics. So I was like, okay, who's he going to be edging out to be on the Mount Rushmore? How far up on the Mount Rushmore is he going to go? What's it going to take for him to get there? And first and foremost, he had to win a championship. Check. That is step one towards getting there. I think he has to stay here longer. I think if he never wins again, depending on how many points he scores and if he plays his entire career, he might leapfrog Paul Pierce. People might be thinking that's crazy to say, but, you know, it's a similar career arc if they only win one. But with no finals MVP, maybe you have an argument there. He's got some work to do to catch Larry, work to do to catch Bill Russell. I think I put Tommy on there too, just because Tommy's like the GOAT. He just had like the ultimate
Havlicek.
Celtic longevity. Havlicek for sure. But there's so many great names to be poking around and thinking about at this point that if Tatum is up there with them, it's truly special for him. Mm-hmm. What do you think it takes for him to catch Larry? Because Larry won 3 MVPs, won 3 finals, and he won 2 finals MVPs. Is it just winning 3 championships, or is it more? I mean, does he have to win MVP? Do we feel like
I think he has to win MVPs, and I don't know if he will win MVPs. Like, it's in my opinion, it is purely just and people get mad at this, whatnot. There is more talent in the NBA than there ever has been by a mile. Like it is not close. I don't want to hear it. I don't care
That's
how many
correct.
old heads or whatever want to say. It's just not close. Like in terms of pure talent, it's soft, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. Stop. It is infinitely more talent in the NBA currently than there ever has been. And by a product of that, it's harder to win big awards because there's so much more talent vying for those big awards. And on top of that, the Celtics have built such a good team around Tatum that this now traditional way of winning MVP of put up insane stats on a pretty good or top tier playoff team will almost never apply to him because he's never going to match the stats of guys like Luka or SGA or Jokic, whose teams are still built out well around them, but they're built for them to put up those monster numbers. And Tatum still, I mean, I'm saying this as if Tatum's not averaging 27, 9, and 6 this year. Like he's putting up crazy stats, but it's not Jokic's 30, 12, and 10. Like that's tough to beat. So I don't know if he can catch Larry. I don't know if he can catch Bill Russell. Bill Russell's going to be a lot harder because of it. Like Bill Russell's numbers retired across the NBA. Like that, like it is going to be almost impossible to catch him in any aspect of anything. I don't. If I had to guess, I think he finishes his career as number 3 behind those two guys. Which, if we're saying he's only behind Larry Bird and Bill Russell in terms of the best Celtics ever, that's a pretty fucking good career. Like that's an incredible career. He would have to win MVPs. And I think I've said this before in the past. The way, in my opinion, that he would potentially get those MVPs is if the Celtics end up having to trade some of these pieces and or Jalen decides he doesn't want to be here anymore. He's accomplished all he can accomplish here. And it's like 5 years from now. And Jayson Tatum is still on the Celtics with like Derek White and like a good solid playoff team, like home court advantage, but he has a much heavier load to carry. So he's averaging like 30, 10, and 5. Like I think it'll be in that era of his career if he does get an MVP. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's my thoughts.
That the stars align and like Jokic doesn't play 65, like
yes, or they have like a 70-win season. You know what I'm saying? Like something outlandish in the next couple of years would probably be the other option outside of what I was outlining, talking about the future. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Sorry. I said I was just agreeing with what you were saying. I filibustered so we wouldn't have to pause. Go ahead.
Sorry. It follows me wherever I go, the Wi-Fi. Man, I mean, who's to say he can't win 11 championships? That'd be sick. He should win 11 championships. I would vouch for him to win 11 championships. If he cared about this sentiment, he would do it. I think it's realistic for them to get 3. It's funny. The more and more we think about this season, we look at like the salary cap and the CBA, and it's just kind of looming. It feels like this is almost like a last punch for them. Like after this, it's going to get really hard. They're not going to be able to just be the best team anymore. Feels like change is going to have to come this summer. And even if it doesn't, how great are the supporting players going to continue to be? Is age going to catch up to some of them? Who knows? This is maybe the last season for a while that we see them as like head and shoulders above everybody, because OKC is not getting any worse. They're going to be nasty. They're going to be good. It's not getting any easier. You got to take advantage of this while you got it. Like, think of all the pressure that went along with last season, where you have the best team, you have to win. It felt like the Celtics had been due to win a championship for, I mean, they were crowned kings of the East in 2018 when they pushed the Cavs to 7 games with no Kyrie, no Hayward, and then they go to the conference finals in 2020 and so on. I won't go through the whole spiel again, but they just got to the mountaintop last year. Like it took them that long. That's how hard it is. If they don't capitalize now, it could be a while before they're like the best team. It doesn't mean they can't win a championship. It doesn't mean you can't win a championship if you're not the best team. It doesn't mean you can't make the finals if you're not the best team. We saw them make the finals in 2022, and they weren't really the best team all year. They had a great second half of the season and rode the momentum as so. But, I mean, this is maybe the last go for just being the juggernaut.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, maybe there's a chance the owner comes in and is willing to pay for one more year, but it does feel like you're going to have to lose one of the top guys. Oil boys who are just not allowed to own an NBA team. You keep saying it.
They can have 20%. They can have 20% of it.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think Tatum definitely has a chance to catch Larry. I don't think 3 titles is out of the realm of possibilities at all. And I mean, I'm not going to say it's a definite because we saw what happened last year, but you have to imagine he'll win at least one of those finals MVPs. Like it's like he has to, right? So we'll see what happens at that point. There is an element to it where if Tatum, even if he doesn't win an MVP, if he keeps being like all NBA first team every single season, like that also has like he's been all NBA first team 3 years in a row now, and he is almost definitely going to be it again. And like that definitely has like Larry Bird was all NBA first team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in a row. Probably get up to that would probably help your case. And I mean, I'm not sitting here saying like Tatum is putting up very, 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 very eerily similar stats to Larry Bird was in this current era. And I'm not saying that makes Tatum better than Larry Bird, obviously, but this season, Jayson Tatum is averaging 27, 9, and 6, or 26.8, 8.7, and 5.7. Larry's best MVP season was 28.7, 10.5, and 6.6. He's like 1.1 assist, 1 rebound away from those numbers, playing in, I would argue, a more talented era of basketball with more teams, with more competition by that standard. Like, it's right there. Like, he is very talented enough to do it. It's just a matter of will he get the accolades to get there, which is, I guess, to be seen.
It's funny. He's 26 and already has won a championship. We're all like, can he get 2 more? Like, there's so much time.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Like, you have to think about it. Like, for it to feel like a given, or at least like a very, very attainable goal, like they have to win this year for us to talk about it like it's a layup. But like realistically, they could go through a whole rebuild, and if he was willing to stick around, they could have another run at a championship with a completely different cast of characters around him. Like that's how much longevity Tatum has at this point.
Yes. And Brown and Peyton Pritchard and like
Correct.
they've got
Correct.
enough young-ish pieces on this team where they could make it happen. Derek White, Jrue Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis are all like 30-ish right now. Jrue Holiday's 34. Al's obviously way older. Al's got a couple years left, but
He'll
Tatum's in a pretty good.
He'll be on the
There's
bench in a quarter zip.
Yeah, always just gonna count on Al to be around. You think Al coaches by the time he's done?
No, I think he's gonna just want to chill.
Family guy. Yeah, I agree. I think he'll just do whatever he wants to do.
Unless like he like really wants to stay and live in Boston, but like
even if he does,
he probably doesn't want to like be on the road. Like you saw,
he'll be like a Mike
how
Orman.
Brad Stevens. Yeah, he only
go to some of the home
only
games.
an assistant coach for the home games.
They'd let him. They would let him. 100%. They'd let him. Shout out Al, man. It just what a guy. I wrote a whole article today. About how Philadelphia is a bunch of idiots for booing Al. They're directing their anger at the wrong person. Basically, what
I like a blog from you, like a bloggy blog, like no real like news value.
Yeah,
like
no, I wrote it normally. I wrote, what did I call it? Booing Al Horford proves 76ers fans are embarrassingly clueless. Is what I said.
I love it, Jack. I love that you have like not a mean stance, but like willing to just attack somebody's stance. You have a hateful stance. Good job.
I hate Philadelphia.
Yes.
I hate the city. Well, I was going to compare it to something, but I couldn't remember. Booing Al Horford is like the Lakers fans booing Russell Westbrook. Blame ownership, bro. They made the trade. They fucked it up. Russ didn't do anything wrong. Just because he wasn't a good fit doesn't mean it's his fault. The fuck? 1 for 1. I don't care what you're about to say. It was objectively not a good fit, and they shouldn't have made the trade. Boo Rob Pelinka, not Russell Westbrook.
From the beginning.
I know. And you were
perhaps you boo another individual that might have had influence in the trade, but
sure. If that's what you believe,
Russ.
If that's what you believe, boo him too. But Russell Westbrook did nothing but come there, try his ass off, and it didn't work. That is not his fault. That's exactly what happened with Al Horford. They're booing him like the Sixers boo Ben Simmons. Houston Rockets fans should boo James Harden, and like Celtics fans boo Kyrie Irving. It is not the same.
Should they boost Ben Simmons?
Bunch of boards. Yeah.
All right. I was curious. I was like, he's gonna be taking it too far. Like, no.
I think of it like when I went on the Kyrie rant that people didn't like. I believe that. I probably believe the same thing for Ben Simmons, but I understand, and there is a valid reason for why Celtics fans boo Kyrie and why Sixers fans boo Ben Simmons. Like, I get it. Just because I wouldn't, and I think it's a little bit silly, like, I understand, and it makes sense why it happens. Philly fans are fucking morons for booing Al Horford. They're directing their irritants in the wrong place. What are you looking at? Does it hear noise?
I don't know if it's in my headphones or what, but it was definitely in my headphones. But
Odd. Anyways, before we jump to the next thing, I need to tell you fine folks here about PrizePicks. PrizePicks
tell
is the
us
best
about
place
PrizePicks.
to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members and billions, of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less with at least 2 players for a shot to win 1,000x your cash. Again, 1,000x your cash. Sam and I certainly didn't do that on the pregame. We weren't very good. You know what though? I keep during these ad reads, I keep coming on here and saying we weren't very
It's
good at it.
hilarious.
The chat picked a lot of those picks, so I'm gonna throw some blame the chat's way too, because I don't think it was. Yeah, Joey Spatula.
Joey Spatula,
RJ,
who's
Phillip.
Tim Robinson with the hat on right now.
Indeed. But anyways, PrizePicks the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states: California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, also Massachusetts. Obviously, where most of y'all are listening from. Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to get the bonus $50. It's just guaranteed once you place the wager. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player props up to 25% to provide even more value for your picks, for your lineups. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Who's going off? Who isn't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. Just maybe don't listen to Sam and I. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, next thing. We had a couple of Celtics events going down in the city today as we're recording this, so it's Friday. There was the premiere for Celtics City. What's it called? Is it Celtics City?
Celtics City.
Celtics City, which is a documentary being produced by Ben Simmons.
Bill Simmons.
Bill
Father
Simmons,
of Ben
excuse
Simmons.
me. Bill Simmons, that documenting the history of the Celtics, all capped off perfectly by the title last year. And then also Jaylen had an event at the Museum of Science. Bill Nye had a chat with him. I think he was there. And he brought out Ferg to debut his new shoes, which I don't know if you've seen Jaylen's new shoes, the new colorway
I saw
that he put out.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Very cool. And just perfectly as I open my timeline, this is the first thing. Shout out Kari Thompson for this beautiful photo of Jaylen and Bill Nye, the Science guy.
That's so cool.
Rocks.
Shout
I
out
love
to Bill Nye
man.
for like being with it, like just being like, yeah, I'm down. Like I'll come up. Like it'll be sick. He's decked out in the white jumpsuit, just like Jaylen. Is that a 741 jumpsuit he's in?
I'm gonna look. I want to see. It is. Yeah.
Yes. Look at Bill Nye.
And Bill Nye and Ferg just on the stage together.
The Celtics are on an unbelievable run right now. Not only did they get Bill Nye, they've got the Celtics Grimace. Like they're having like an ultimate celebrity run right now. Like get Bill Nye courtside at a Celtics game at the Garden, please.
I want to. I'm scrolling Cam's timeline because I want to find a picture of these shoes that Jaylen is debuting, the Rovers. Here they are. They're white, but this lighting makes them look red. But they're cool. Very cool.
White with blue little designs on them, where the regular ones are yellow, opalish looking.
Here we go. Very cool. Very sick shoes. I would like these shoes. These are.
We're approaching Sam buys the 741's territory.
I'm itching for it a little bit. I can't lie.
I will say I haven't tried these yet, but I am a big fan of the Tatum 3s, which I've said before.
Really?
Those are good shoes. Yeah, I like the Tatum ones a lot. They didn't last. Tatum 3s are great. I would like to try out the Jaylen shoes.
They're just so expensive, man. They're just so expensive.
That is the tough part. Like $200 is just a tough try it out price.
It's brutal. Anyways, maybe I'll cave. Let's see. Next thing. Celtics sale currently is holding up NBA expansion, according to Howard Beck of The Ringer. He wrote a little article, and this was the biggest tidbit that I pulled from it. The main holdup right now, the holdup of NBA expansion, I should say, per league sources, is the protracted sale of the Celtics franchise, which was put on the market in July by Wick Grosbeck. Sources say league officials are eyeing a sale price of at least $6 billion, in part to set a baseline for the expansion franchise fees, but it hasn't come to pass yet. And the team, excuse me, I have hiccups. The team remains for sale. There were more tidbits. He talked to like a couple sources around the league who gave him some tidbits about this, and they said, I have it here. Now that the Celtics sale look like it's taking a bit longer, how it's going to come in at a lower price, everything has gotten pushed back. So basically, expansion is not going to happen until this finishes, and they can figure it out from there.
They got to do expansion soon, man. They need it. There's so many talented players that are just. We don't even have to look at the guys that like aren't in the league. You can just look at guys who are playing. Like, obviously, you don't want to see anything change here, but like Derek White is somebody who could have a larger role on a team and like legitimately be responsible for creating shots and doing far more than he does with the Celtics. Yet he's able to thrive here and be asked to do so little on offense. But there are so many examples of this around the league where guys are just kind of like I don't want to say pigeonholed because a lot of them are great at what they do, but they could be great at so many other things if they were given the responsibility to do so. Like, not to say he's not a good fit with the Knicks, but Mikal Bridges with the Nets was enabled to try and be a top scoring option. He wasn't the greatest at it, but he was still capable of doing it on nights. He had a night where he lit up the Celtics for a lot of points. He's somebody who could do it. Like, as the league expands, you're going to see more and more of these guys become good statistical players. And then also you're going to see more jobs created for role players. You're going to see more and more people getting in the NBA. So it'd be really good. The Celtics sale, I really wish that it goes the best. I would love to see an owner pay for everybody.
Dream world. You need Steve Ballmer, and there's not many Steve Ballmers out there, brother.
Oh, can you imagine Steve Ballmer? Not
Fine
like
ball.
even if you just like gave me like a Steve Ballmer twin, he's just
Sure.
spazzing out on the baseline. Like, even in the Wick chair. Can you imagine if Wick was just a spaz, like going ballistic every time like anything happened at a game?
It'd be fun.
He's at the press conferences asking who's fired up about the free agent signings. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. As Kawhi and Paul George are standing there like, what the hell did we sign up for? Steve Ballmer's the man.
He's fun. Steve Ballmer is the GOAT. All right. Let's check in with the email here. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. Got 2 emails today, both from RJ. First one. A game of playoff, play-in, or tank. Evening, folks. The fine tradition of that game, fuck, marry, kill. Here are my, in fine tradition of that game, fuck, marry, kill. Here are my opinions for who will or should make the playoffs, the play-in, or tank to the lottery. Eastern Conference, playoffs as the 6th seed. Sam is happy. While there are only 2 games ahead of the loss column on Miami, the Pistons have continued to win after Jaden Ivey went down. I think they're more likely to overtake Milwaukee for the 5th spot than fall back into the play-in. I tend to agree. Orlando and Atlanta play in both. Neither has the bodies to push upward, but neither are so bad as to catch the Bulls or Sixers. Consider it making the play-in because someone has to. Miami playing as the 7th seed, most likely. I'm chalking this one up to the magic of Spoelstra. Outside shot to make the playoffs if Detroit and Milwaukee stumbles badly. Chicago tank. No, I don't think they will try to tank, but they'll stagger to the worst, to the end worse off than the Sixers. Philly, in a kind of unjust universe, both the Bulls and Philly would miss the play-in, but I think Maxey, who cares about Yabu and Lonnie wanting to prove GM's wrong, might be enough to get them past Chicago. So who does this mean? You think the Nets make the play-in, RJ, then? Because you only named 3 play-in teams here, right? Am I crazy? He says Chicago should tank, or he says the Bulls and Philly would both miss the play-in. Then he has Detroit as a 6th seed, Orlando and Atlanta play-in. So maybe he has the Nets getting into the play-in. I would think it's more likely to be Chicago or Philly. But the Nets, now that I say that, the Nets are tied with Philly in the standings. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Here's the thing about Philly. They would be legitimately fucking stupid to like avoid the bottom 7. Like, they need to tank. They do not have their draft pick unless it's in the top 7. It would be wise for them to try and be bad. This season is chalked. They don't have the guys right now. Their top guys aren't healthy. Embiid is a corpse out there. He can't play. And Paul George has been Tobias Harris for you this year. I think if you're Philly, he's been worse.
Toby like that.
He's literally been worse than Tobias Harris was last year, and they were chasing him with pitchforks and torches out of town. They need to tank. They need to get healthy, and they need to get another guy to come in, or they're just going to continue to be mediocre. Who knows what the Embiid era even has left, to be honest with you. Like, this is a mess for them.
And it's not all his fault either. Healthy. That's what I'm saying, yeah. excuse me, Western Conference, RJ says, Clippers playoffs thanks to the weirdest bunch of veteran leadership guys in the arena of the future, plus a dose of Jeff Van Gundy. They could pass either Lakers or Rockets, maybe both. And now come the island of misfit toys starring Minnesota, Dallas, Sacramento, Golden State, Phoenix, and San Antonio. None of them are moving up out of the play-in space on their own. All of them have reasons to fall into the tank, but 4 of them will at least get a sniff of the postseason. So that is assuming you have OKC, Memphis, Denver, Houston, Lakers, and then Clippers as the top 6. I see. Excuse me. Okay. Yes. Golden State makes the plan because Steph and Jimmy buckets are too stubborn not to, and Kerr is smart enough not to screw things up. Dallas gets in if they can piece together one healthy center for the remainder of the year, not named Kyler Kelly. San Antonio's young talent, young-ish talent, oldest dirt talent figure. Figure out a way, make it all work. This was sent before the Wemby news, so maybe RJ would change his mind about that. For the last spot, Phoenix has Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Minnesota has Anton Reed and Rudy Gobert. Sacramento has a bunch of guys like Levine, LaRavia, DeRozan, Monk, Valanciunas, and Markelle Fultz surrounding Sabonis. So, of course, I'm picking the Kings to land the 10 seed because nothing else has made sense about their season. Why start now? Yep, Phoenix and Minnesota wind up in Tankland. Hey, no one said the NBA was pretty. Imagine Minnesota misses the playoffs. They're currently 4.5 games up on the 10th or the 11th seed right now. So I think that's a little unlikely, but I suppose we'll see.
That would be a monumental collapse. I'm sorry, did I miss it? Did he say anything about San Antonio?
Yeah, and I had a whole thing about it too. He said San Antonio, young talent, youngish talent, oldest dirt talent, figure out a way to make it all work. And then I said he sent this before the Wemby news.
Yeah.
So RJ would probably change his mind about that.
Yes. Okay, very fair.
Yes.
The Wemby thing sucks for Wemby. I guess we can kind of tie this in here because on its own, like it wasn't going to be a great segment. We were going to just be like Wemby hurt out for the season.
Sure.
They almost fall into the Philly thing where it's like, what if they tanked again?
Well, they just beat the
Suns.
So
Yeah, but like if you're San Antonio, like you kind of like are like, what if we got a good draft pick? What if we added another guy?
2 good draft picks. They have the Hawks draft pick.
Yeah, that's right. They do have the Hawks draft pick. So like they could just be like, yeah. Well. I before the Wemby thing, they don't even need to tank because they have the Hawks pick. You're right. But then it's just like, oh man, like just could get even more guys in San Antonio. Minnesota would take a monumental collapse, though, to go back to the original point. But that's what Julius Randle will do for you. He'll spin around, fumble around, lose the ball out of bounds, throw it off the backboard, turn it over. That's what he does. Good trade.
This is true. This is damn true. And then RJ says, be well, RJ, who still hopes the Lakers plummet but won't bet that way.
They almost lost again yesterday, the Blazers, but they didn't.
No, the pieces together. RJ, next email, the Pritchard solution. Afternoon, folks. Jack, I loved your short about Peyton Pritchard's passing efficiency, and it reminded me of one of my first moments I knew his game could go to a new level. Remember the beginning of last season when Sam Hauser couldn't throw a rock into the ocean? His first 11 quarters, he shot a combined 1 of 7 on 3-pointers. Then in the fourth quarter of the Washington game with the Celtics up by 33, Pritchard was on a mission to feed Sam. He buckets the ball. In that one quarter alone, he took and made more threes in those first 11 games. Granted, he only managed to go 2 for 8, but it seemed to jumpstart him. In the 50-point blowout against the Pacers that followed, Pritchard kept the ball, firing the ball into Hauser's shooting pocket. Hauser went 5 for 6 on his long-distance shooting that night, and more importantly, it helped him set him up for success for the rest of the season. I would love to see a stretch between now and the end of the season where Peyton provides the same service delivery for Jordan Walsh. Or room service delivery, I should say. Yes, it will require blowout conditions, but just make it clear to Walsh he's getting the ball on a platter. I think that sort of focused attention would help Walsh settle into his own confidence as an offensive player. After all, you can't eat if no one is feeding you. Be well, RJ. Would be cool. I'm down.
I'd love to get Hauser back. Need it.
And Walsh. Would be very cool.
Hauser would be nice to get Walsh going. I don't know how much Walsh is actually going to play, though. That's the problem.
No, that's why RJ said blowout. It would have to be a blowout.
Blowout.
We'll see.
Maybe next year.
Let's check in with the NBA standings. Reminder, as always, you guys can. Nope. The NBA standings. Cleveland still in first place. Shocker. I can do it. Say it before I even pull up the standings because it's just how it is. And guess what? Celtics Knicks 2-3. Shocker. Celtics now 6 games back on the Cavs because I think they just played an extra game, so that half game has been erased. Celtics now 3 games up on the Knicks though because the Knicks aren't good.
Because Cavs actually beat the Knicks.
Exactly.
Differences.
And Celtics Knicks on Sunday. I saw Corrales tweet about it. Celtics have a chance to ruin the Knicks 40 before 20 season, which is fun. Pacers in 4th, half game up on the Bucks in 5th. Bucks are 2 games up on the Pistons in 6th, but the Pistons are 2.5 games up on the Magic in 7th. Play-in is Magic, Heat, Hawks, Bulls. Bulls are game and a half up on the Sixers and Nets, who are 11-12. Then you got the Raptors, who are not closer, but right in the middle of the Hornets and the Nets. And then, like I said, Raptors, Hornets, and then Wizards still have yet to win 10 games.
Shout out to the Wizards. Man, fuck the Wizards for not having a colossal losing streak like the Pistons did last year. If you're going to be bad, you might as well be really, really fun about it. They've just been lame, but not fuck the Wizards because they have Marcus now. Respect, actually. Take good care of our lovely child or lovely Boston son, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, Sixers Nets being tied is hilarious. Sixers losing 6 straight is very funny. 2-8 in their last 10. I said yesterday it felt like a really crushing blow to them to lose the Celtics in the fashion that they did. Luckily, the Nets did them a favor and lost their game, so they didn't actually overtake Philly. Jack, do you think Toronto has a chance to catch? We'll even loop Chicago into this.
Have a chance to catch Chicago?
Yes. Do they have a chance to leapfrog all 3 of those teams?
They're not very good. I would place a bet on the Nets doing it before the Raptors doing it, just based on the standings. That extra 3 games is big.
It is big.
But they're 3.5 games out? 4.5 games out. Probably not. Put it this way. It's the same chance that roughly I give the Celtics of catching the Cavs. Very slim, not impossible, but maybe, right? Maybe actually, no, I'd give it more of a chance just because the Bulls, Sixers, and Nets are a lot worse than the Cavs are. But then again, the Raptors aren't very good either, and the Raptors aren't healthy. I don't know if Ingram's back. Has Ingram played a game for them yet?
I'm not sure.
Ingram has not. He hasn't played a game for them yet. He's still hurt. He's still
he got paid though.
Yeah, veteran forward's not projected to play for at least a month, and that was February 13th. So we've still got a while before we see Brandon Ingram. I don't know who is playing for them right now. Let me look up the Raptors injury report. But probably not. Right now, Jakob Poeltl missed their game on Friday. The rest is useless. PJ Tucker's not going to play, and Ulrich Chomchi's whatever. He tore his MCL. I would say no, but maybe. Maybe, I guess.
The Sixers are just like the meme of the guy with the stick being do something. You just keep waiting for them to say, objectively, Sixers better than all these teams. They should be better. And they're just somehow in the mix with all these. I mean, injuries have been a major thing, but even when they're healthy, they're just not really winning games at the clip that they should be. I'm interested to see how the play-in pans out this year. I love that we're seeing Detroit kind of separate themselves as we're recording this. They're up on the Spurs tonight in San Antonio, so they could be 3 whole games ahead of Orlando by the time you're seeing this video. I like that they're winning. I like that they're separating themselves from the play-in. I think there'll be a fun first-round matchup against the Knicks because they play the Knicks well this year. It would be really fun, Jack. Now that we're past the All-Star break, we're looking at these standings, we're thinking about playoff matchups. How great would it be to get Pacers-Bucks again? This has been a nice little rivalry. They had the thing where Giannis wanted the ball when the guy scored his first NBA points, but Giannis had a big game. You, of course, had the in-season tournament last year. And then you had the playoffs where Indiana bounced them. Could be round 2 this year. I love it.
Would be cool. Round 3, yes, if you do count that play-in you mentioned. Would be fun. Yeah. I'm in. I like the Pacers, man. I as much as obviously they play the Celtics and they play them well, I really like the Pacers. There's not a guy on the team I dislike. You know what I'm saying? They don't have any of those guys, in my opinion. I enjoy watching the Pacers play basketball, which is fun. Next thing, Western Conference. OKC 8 games up on the Grizzlies and the Nuggets at 44-10. Are they the same? Excuse me. I know the Cavs have 2 more wins. Wow. Grizzlies, Nuggets, like I said, both 37-19 right behind them. Rockets have slipped a little bit, 34-21. They're in that next tier with the Lakers. Then it's the Clippers rounding out the top 6. Timberwolves are only half a game behind them, though. Then you got the Mavs, Kings, Warriors in the play-in. The Suns 2 games back at the 10 seed right now. Spurs 1 game back of the Suns, so 3 games out of the play-in. And with Wemby out, it's probably not looking too good. And then Blazers are only 2.5 games out of the Spurs, but then Jazz and the Pelicans are just in the league of their own down there.
A league of their own. Well put. Oh man, RJ's email really did a great job of outlining all this stuff, but it's going to be a bloodbath for the second half of this season. Like the Lakers should be safe from the play-in, but they're not necessarily there just yet. Feels like Dallas is going to do some sliding. I feel like Dallas and below are all dog shit teams. Anybody above could be competitive going forward, but um, the Lakers have struggled a little bit since the newness of this Luka trade is worn off. Luka didn't play yesterday in Portland.
They're
They
erasing
should,
him from history.
yeah. The Mavericks just like
So
Men in
stupid.
Blacked everybody and did this hype video and with a rap song that was like, "We're Mavericks, we're shooters," or whatever it was, and like they just like put the Maverick logo over Luka's face to hide him out of the montage. Pretty funny.
Crazy, man.
I'd like to see
Crazy.
Houston get their footing back. They're a really fun team to watch. Like I want them to take advantage of the second half of the season and kind of cement themselves as a somewhat contender out west, like at least like where you believe they could make the second round.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm down. I'm down for all I want in the West is chaos. That's all I want. I want to come down to like last game of the season, have those games actually matter because that's where the fun happens. That's what I want from the West. And
That's
I
a
guess
good wish.
we'll see.
My wish
guess
is the
we'll see.
Lakers lose.
Sure. You mentioned it during that, but Wemby, season-ending injury, scary injury, deep vein thrombosis in the right shoulder, I think it was, or left shoulder. I think right shoulder. Yeah, right shoulder. Reported by Shams, reported by Chris Haynes, reported by everybody. Gonna miss the rest of the season, but the more important thing is they're glad they caught it early. He should be back in time for next season. There's a history of guys who have had this. Christian Coloco had to be cleared by the NBA with something similar. Brandon Ingram missed some time when he was traded from Lakers to the Pelicans, and it took him till the next season. It was a similar timeline, 4 to 8 months ish, roughly. Same thing happened with Sar Thompson last year on your Pistons. And then obviously the most infamous example is Chris Bosh. They caught his very, very late. And so by the time they caught it, it had traveled from his legs, I believe, which is where this is most commonly found, to the lungs. And it was life-threatening. And he was fine after a week stay in the hospital. But then the very next year, like literally a year later, he was back in the hospital for another one. And eventually that blood clotting issue ended his career early. They're confident that's not the case with Wemby. They're confident that they caught it well early enough. It's going to be more like the Brandon Ingram one. And obviously Brandon Ingram has had, plenty of, he's been injury prone, but he is not having
Been
to
an
deal
all-star since
with
then.
this. It's true. It's true. And obviously Christian Coloco is back and playing. Asar Thompson's back and playing. So they're confident they found it early enough, but just a very, very terrifying thing that luckily they found early. It just sucks for the Spurs in the short term.
Sucks for the Spurs, sucks for Wemby because Wemby was like the outright favorite for defensive player of the year. He was like minus 10,000 or something like that, crazy, where he was obviously going to win it as long as he played 65 games. Now I don't think he's going to hit that mark, so he won't be able to win the award. Sucks for him. There's a comic angle to this where Anthony Davis did the thing with Shams and he was like crying that the only reason why Wemby's going to win defensive player of the year is because the media is pushing for him. And now that Wemby probably cannot win defensive player of the year, Anthony Davis also cannot win it because he's out with an injury.
Yes. It's probably going to be Evan Mobley now, which deserve, and everyone's going to say,
Jaren
"Oh, you didn't
Jackson
deserve it."
is
Jaren
another
Jackson.
big candidate for this. But,
Yeah.
the best thing that can happen for Wemby is get healthy. You probably root for the Spurs to get in the lottery and get another nice supporting cast piece to join the team, especially for
Great
years to
draft
come.
this year. Great draft this year.
As long as he's all right, like blessing in disguise, low key for the Spurs, because it would be cool to get playoff experience. I think it was a win-win season for them. Like they were a fun team. Wemby was starting to come into his own. He was starting to dominate on the defensive end, but nobody wants to have to punt a season. But if you do, like future you's usually happy about it. That's like the way I look at like doing things I don't want to do in my real life. Like I'm like, oh, future me will like that. Like I'll be happy that I ran this morning when I'm like, not wanting to do it later. That's the kind of thing. So good for, get him healthy. Maybe it'll be a fortunate thing. Like David Robinson misses the season before the Duncan draft, and they get Tim Duncan. They have both of them together. Maybe it's that kind of luck.
Imagine Coop with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. Imagine that.
that would be blessed in San Antonio. It'd be pretty good for them. Pretty good. Then Pop can get back healthy too, maybe.
Oh man. Yes. we don't have to talk anymore about that. Javonte Green has signed with the Cavaliers, bought out by the New Orleans Pelicans. Another body for them to throw at the Celtics, I guess. Happy for Javonte Green that he lands in a spot where he can potentially help compete for a championship. Hopefully, it doesn't get in the way of the Celtics.
A little interesting. He didn't decide to go play for the Celtics. I think he would have. Surprised a little bit. A little dishonorable. Think his friendship with Tatum would have not, led him to go play for the other top team in the conference at the moment. Now, good for him. Good that he
I was
gets to
gonna
go
say,
play
do
in
you
a
want to run the
competitive
bit?
situation.
I was like, do you want to
No.
run the bit, or do you want to actually talk about why he did decide with the Celtics?
I mean, he'll probably get to contribute more to the Cavs and still be on a very competitive
And
team.
they chose someone over him.
Yeah. And they also did choose someone over him. That's very true. Well, I don't think he wasn't out yet. He wasn't bought out yet.
It's true, and
They probably still do take Torrey Craig over him, I think.
Yeah, and they probably don't want to spend the extra money. They can just elevate a two-way player at the end of the year like they did with Nemi.
Yep.
It's all money,
that'll
baby.
be beneficial to the two-way guy. It'll earn
True.
Probably good for morale.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, good for Javonte, like you were saying. I was fucking around. I'm happy that he got a deal with a good team. Shout out
Pelicans, man. Yikes.
It's not their fault either this year. They're just Grizzlies 2.0, man. It's tough. They're cursed. They're cursed.
It's like what we're talking about with the Spurs, but they just keep drafting other guys that get hurt. Or other guys that just aren't really getting the job done. Like, they've made good moves, like drafting Zion. Slam dunk of a draft pick. Was the hype draft pick coming in. They kind of get some good pieces like CJ. They were a pretty competitive team there for a while. Then everyone starts to get hurt. They have Dyson Daniels. He's hurt. They trade him to Atlanta for DeJounte, which was a good trade. DeJounte hurts himself the first game, then tears his Achilles. Like, they can't get a break. It's terrible.
No, they cannot. It's very, very terrible indeed. Not terrible is Ben Simmons. Great day for guys like me with Ben Simmons stock
Good
still in
segue.
the holster. Ben Simmons has actually looked good with the LA Clippers. In his first, I think he's played 2 games for them so far. He's averaged 9, 6, and 5. He's shooting 88% from the field, 87.5. He had 12, 7, and 6 first game, 6, 5, and 4 the next game. Played 27 minutes and 20 minutes. Got to win them, but then they lost to the Bucks. Listen, man. I'm not saying Ben Simmons is ever going to get back to the All-Star. He was, right? But if you put him in the right situation, I still think he's good enough to be a quality role player. Like, he has all the tools. He has the NBA body. And the Clippers are a perfect example. James Harden can run the offense. He can run the show. It is funny that the 2 Philly cast-outs are both on the same team now, or whatever you want to call it. But
show up, get on the bus, and they're like, man, I fucking hate Embiid. That guy's a bum. And the other one's like, yeah, fuck
damn
Philly.
Right.
Too.
And they threw a lob.
I hate their fans. I can't believe they boo Al Horford.
You know, in soccer, when a player scores a goal and they lift up their thing, there's something on their t-shirt. They got to throw Ben Simmons an alley-oop, and he just lifts up. He says, "Fuck Embiid."
Yeah, fuck Philly. Cheese.
Good for Ben Simmons though.
The
Happy
Liberty
he's playing
Bell's
well.
lame.
Like I said, happy Ben Simmons is playing well. I don't know if you have any thoughts or anything to say, but good for him.
It's certainly interesting to see him contribute with a competitive team. If there was no buyout rules with the CBA, I think a lot of people would have been like, what if the Celtics go and get him and bring him off the bench? I don't know how well it would have worked because they love to have guys shoot threes so much, but there's also the angle where you could be like, what if you just tell him to do Luke Cornett stuff?
Yeah.
So it would have been an interesting fit. For the guy, it's good to see that he's playing well somewhere, and maybe it'll make him love the game again if he had truly stopped loving it. A lot of questions about his actual interest in playing basketball over the last several years, just because after the Philly Atlanta series, he sat out and said, I'm not going to play until you trade me. And then they trade him. And then he's just got all these injuries popping up, and people are like, this guy just doesn't want to play. I like the Clippers. I'll root for them. Steve Ballmer's awesome, as we talked about. Like their new uniforms. They got a cool new arena, and they're not the Lakers. So good for them.
Indeed. All right, Rat List, Sam. What do you got for me?
Rat List. I don't know where I want to start. Rat List is so I went out with coworkers today because we're all here on a work trip, and I like hanging out with everybody. Everybody's cool. So we go and get frozen yogurt. We're in the frozen yogurt shop, and there's a pro tip. This is my pro tip. If you go and get frozen yogurt, what you want to do is you go and take your cup that you're going to get it in, and whatever topping you want, you make sure you get it on the bottom. That way, when you finish the top layer of your thing, you're not in awe of like Oreos or cookie dough or whatever it is that you are excited to have
Sure.
in your frozen yogurt. So what I do, when I make frozen yogurt, when I go to a frozen yogurt place, I have to like have like a invention in mind. I'm not the person that's like, I'm gonna have this flavor and this flavor, and I have gummy bears, blueberries, chocolate. Like my thing is, it's very well planned out. That all the ingredients have to fit. Like I make believe I'm making like a Ben and Jerry's flavor. So get my cup, carefully like look at all the flavors, go up, look at all the toppings, take my time, carefully plan it out. I say to the girl behind the thing, can you please put Oreo pieces in the bottom of my thing? She's like, yeah, sure. Turn around. The whole fucking middle school must have let out. There's just mad kids in line now. My coworkers are at the front of the line. They have to wait for me. These kids are doing the thing where they're getting all the different flavors, and they got the gummy bears and this and that. And these two girls were the ones in front of me. There's two of them. They have 3 cups of yogurt. So I had to wait for them to put 3 toppings, like 3 sets of toppings on. I must have cost my team probably 10 minutes. I felt terrible. That was on me.
All because you needed them at the bottom. All because you needed some
I
extra
stand
special
by
treatment.
that, though.
No, it's a good idea. It's just
that's a good
unfortunate
tip.
that it happened.
All of you can take that. Don't say we don't ever give you anything.
I will rat list. It's a very niche scenario, but I will outline it for you. If you ever been on the green line that is above ground, so the steps go down, like the steps are like indented into the train.
Yes.
So I'm standing there, and it's a packed enough train where there are people standing facing me too, or like in my general direction. And I am a taller guy, and so I am eye level with some of these girls who are shorter. And the whole time I'm staring ahead, I'm just listening to my music, I'm vibing. Chapel Roan came on, was hanging out, good time. And out of the corner of my eye, I can't I think this, I don't know, this girl, I just kept thinking she was fucking staring at me, but I didn't want to look because I didn't want to make eye contact. I'm like, okay,
yes.
She was looking forward. But every time I would look, I would catch her like glancing away. So I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And obviously, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm a pussy, right? This wasn't even like oh, maybe I should get her number scenario. This was just like I'm trapped on public transport and I feel awkward. Get me off the fucking train. Like I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like even if it was just someone random, like I've been trapped there before. I definitely told the story here. I was coming back from New Year's party and these people had no fucking self-awareness and they were just in my shit, like having their own conversation. But I was in a position where I couldn't move to the right because this dude was like had his foot dangling and his ass pressed up against where I was standing, and this girl was doing, and there's somebody else standing beside me. So I was just standing in the middle of their fucking huddle, listening to their conversation because I couldn't move anywhere else. It was so stupid. So
I'm just imagining like a crowd of people around you, and like you're taller than everybody, so you're just in the middle sticking out, and they're
imagine having that little social awareness. Fucking idiots, dude. Oh, pisses me off.
That reminds me, I don't know if I've probably told you this story before because we knew each other when this happened. When I was in college, I used to take the bus to and from campus. I went to URI, live in Warwick. There's a bus that goes from CCRI to URI. I didn't want to pay $200 a semester to park my car there. Didn't want to have to drive there every day. So I took the bus. It was great experience. Loved it. So anyways, like I'm leaving on a Wednesday and I'm on the bus and it's my regular leaving time. So like when you get your semester schedule or whatever, you see a lot of the same people because everybody's on the same schedule. They're on the same bus, whatever. I'm on the bus. I see this girl I've never seen before. Make eye contact like several times, like exchange smiles and everything.
I remember this from the laughters.
Yes. Like I'm such like a bitch. Like
of course,
especially like I was like, should I ask for a number? Should I say something? No, I just didn't say a word. I'm like, all right, next time I'm gonna.
Exactly. I told you one time I pulled the Drake and Josh bit, right?
What is it? Oh, you say you like your shoes?
Yeah, and then I got off the train. I didn't say anything.
That's fire. But anyways, I get off the bus, and I'm like, next Wednesday, like I'm gonna be ready. Then COVID. Never took the bus. That was the last time I ever took the bus home from URI. It was spring break, and we never came back from spring break after that.
Yep. Well, there's another time that I got hit on the train. I probably told this about here. And it was a weekend, and I think she might have been a little drunk, but I was typing on the train. I was writing an article, and she goes, "What are you writing?" And I was like, "Oh, this." And then there was a whole conversation, and built up the confidence. I was like, hey, maybe I can, continue this conversation. I can get your number. Maybe, we can go out. And she was like, yeah, she gave her a number, texted her. Nope. Never texted back. So I was just like, okay, go fuck myself. Like, see you later.
Because like there's a layer to that where she never had to say anything to you.
No. And like I said, I think she was drunk. So maybe she was like, oh, who's this random person on my phone the next morning? Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But like, fuck, man.
Rat list is the elevator at my hotel. So this morning,
elevators.
So this morning I like get up, like I went through my, what I told Jack, like as we were starting this, I was like, I don't like being out here because I feel like I'm starting my day behind. The one thing I really do like is if I'm on like a work schedule where I have to be somewhere at like 9, I'm actually waking up at 9 a.m. Eastern to like exercise. So it doesn't feel like I'm getting up early to like get my run in, get my lift in, whatever. So I do all that, come back, shower, and I'm like going to meet my coworkers down to get breakfast in the lobby or whatever. So I'm on my way down. I'm running a little late. Elevator hits like every floor. And it's like kind of comical. Like I get on, it's already like pretty crowded. We go down like one floor. Somebody, like 2 other people get on, it's crowded. And we just keep like getting more and more people. It's like, this is like a fucking clown car now. Like there's just mad people on the, like you cannot fit more people on this. Like, how are we still stopping?
Yeah.
So that was an experience.
Don't blame you.
I think I'm fortunate though. Like one of my coworkers was saying something similar happened to her, but like she's not 6'3". So like she's like in some dude's armpit as he climbs into the fucking elevator. Like I can't imagine that where your face is just in somebody's like body.
I hate packed places. I don't have anything else. You have anything else? You're on a trip. Maybe you have more, but
Rat list. Oh yeah, Rat list LAX. LAX sucks. I told you about this yesterday because you were kind of like we were waiting for me to get back so I could do the Sixers recap with Jack. And I watched the game on the plane. It was awesome. I was laughing. When you get off the plane and you like need to get your ride share, like trying to order an Uber as my coworkers get their bags. And it's like I'm like clicking the confirm and it's like show me this thing. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I do it like twice and it's doing it. I'm like, all right, what does this say? You have to take a shuttle away from the terminal to go somewhere where you can then order your Uber. You can't order your Uber from the terminal. So I had no idea. We're like outside. I'm like, I don't know why this is coming up. Shuttle comes by. And then like as I'm realizing what it is, I'm like, oh, that's the one. And they just leave. They just left. So we had to wait another like 10 minutes for the shuttle to come.
Terrible.
The traffic here sucks. Apparently they have Ubers that you don't even have a driver. The AI drives. They're taking people's jobs. Like I feel like an old person. No, I won't.
Oh.
I hate AI. Like I don't like that they're taking our jobs.
I forgot that was your bit.
Go turn on Fox News after this.
Man. That like I said, that's all I got. If you can keep running, if you have more, but I had a boring.
What else happened today? I definitely have some stuff. Apparently, like, you probably know about this because you're pretty like online, especially like TikTok and stuff. Have you heard about like the country or like the guys that like bought land and then said it's like a country inside of the United States?
I mean, there's like the they have a name. There's like a lot of people. I don't know about
like Slow Jam. Slow Jam Squan or whatever. Anyways, the guys that do that are at this thing that I'm going to be at. And they were talking to us today, and like I guess they're like nice guys. And then I didn't realize like they do characters. So like they're kind of like they're normal. Like, all right, Jack, think of me like when I'm not doing the podcast. Like, do I have elements of me that are like exaggerated when we do this? Yes, but like Noah's like I can't believe like you're like this. Like you're always so negative. Like when she met me for the first time in person, she's like I can't believe you're like this person. So like this guy's like completely normal. Then I saw like a video. The guy from this
he does a bit.
He does a bit. He has like a command, like a supreme leader.
Sovereign citizens, yes.
Citizens, yes. And he had he was like doing an accent and everything. I was like, holy shit. He's going to be in character for this show. So I have to go over to his booth. That was interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just don't like feeling like I'm behind. And the Wi-Fi in this room sucks because every time like you go on my phone, it's like, hey, log in. It's like, I already logged in. I told you what room I'm in. I told you who I am. I don't need to log in again. Mm-hmm. I had to do it when I got on the computer.
It's cooked. Okay. Anyways, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and all the same to get out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment. Tell us what you think of, I don't know, the frozen yogurt strategy. You can also subscribe and hit the bell because we're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps over the morning after each game. Other videos are on the channel between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find Jack and I streaming half hour before every single game here too. Doing pregame. Come hang out in the chat. Ton of fun. You can make sure you find us on Spotify and Apple too, because we're doing all the pods and recaps up there. So if you just want the audio versions, got you covered. Just follow us. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're reading them on the pod. You saw us read RJ's today. Be like RJ. Get those emails in. You know you got something to say. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's Mon NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.